to welcome everybody here. It was absolutely marvelous to see and to hear so many talented entrepreneurs, so many energized investors and innovators during today's masterclass and pitch training sessions here at IIT Madras. And it remains marvelous to wish you all a hearty vanakkam, welcome, to our program this afternoon. The U.S. Consul General in Chennai is honored to host this event as part of the 2017 Global Entrepreneurship Summit. As you probably know and might have seen on television or your digital media platforms, the official summit is being officially inaugurated at this very moment in Hyderabad. And I would just want to, by way of background, note that it was particularly important, both to me and to the Consul General, who will be speaking in a moment, that in supporting the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, we focus on the 170 million citizens of South India in the states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Union State of Puducherry, and the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So truly welcome to this event at IIT Madras. I arrived in Chennai 4 months ago today, so very happy to be amongst you. And then our Consul General, Robert Burgess, arrived 1 week later. And at his very first event, a public event, it was a Train the Trainers event, which Uma Reddy from Emerge will remember well. It was a training event with women entrepreneurs here in Tamil Nadu. It was so inspiring at that time to meet so many incredible women. Since then, I've myself traveled to Madurai and to Coimbatore, to Mangalore and Manipal, to Puducherry and Bengaluru, and have really so enjoyed meeting so many of you. And to the extent that the CG's very first event that he did was a event in support of women's economic empowerment. It's my privilege to introduce him right now as a real champion of today's theme, Women First, Prosperity for All. So thank you, Consul General Burgess, for your remarks and for kicking off our program. Thanks.
Good evening. It is a real pleasure to be here this evening at IIT Madras and to have so many distinguished guests and participants with us here. I'd like to acknowledge a couple of our guests who are here tonight, our colleagues from government. Mr. Hans Raj Verma, IAS Additional Chief Secretary in the Rural Development Department. Dr. Krishna Kumar, the State Environmental Impact Chairman, State Environmental Impact Assessment Chairman. Mr. Skandan, IFS retired, former Additional Chief Secretary of the Pollution Control Board. And Dr. Balaji, IFS Tamil Nadu Forest Department. And why I want to make that point about colleagues from government is because the Global Entrepreneurship Summit serves as a bridge between government and private sector. The event, the Global Summit in Hyderabad, is being sponsored by both the Government of India and the Government of the United States. And the participants, the entrepreneurs from India, from the United States, and from countries around the world, the speakers, the investors, the other participants in the ecosystem supporting entrepreneurship are largely from the private sector. So this is a great partnership and bridge to bring people together, to bring government and policy together with private sector ideas and resources to help build the environment to support entrepreneurship. And so what's special about entrepreneurship compared to any other form of business? Well, I think it comes down to the individuals we call entrepreneurs, and who are they? They're people with a passion, with an idea or multiple ideas, who have the courage to go out and create, organize, and manage businesses or enterprises, and have the strength to accept the risk of doing that, accept the risk of failure, because not every venture is a success, or it may not be initially a success. So there have to be strong individuals, passionate individuals, and people committed to their ideas. The Global Entrepreneurship Summit, as you know, is the world's preeminent annual gathering of entrepreneurs. It's bringing together emerging entrepreneurs, leading investors, experienced mentors, and others who support the ecosystem, as I said, from around the world, from 150 countries around the world. And the goal of that summit is to help these entrepreneurs, these risk takers, these innovators, to take their ideas to the next level. And entrepreneurship matters. I think everyone in this room knows that. Entrepreneurship drives innovation. Entrepreneurship brings new products and services to market. Entrepreneurship creates jobs. And entrepreneurship provides a path for individuals to improve their lives. And all of this leads to increased economic security for families, communities, and nations. And that's why our two countries support entrepreneurship and are supporting this summit today in Hyderabad. And it is significant that the GES, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, is taking place in South Asia for the first time, and that it's happening here in India, because that helps highlight India's commitment to innovation and entrepreneurship. And I think we see with the participants here today, with the many connections on innovation and ideas between the United States and India, just what a fertile ground India is for innovation and for entrepreneurship, leading the world in many fields and sectors and ideas. In my first few months here as Consul General, I've been amazed by the talent, the passion of the innovators I've met. You know, on one end of the spectrum, I've had the opportunity to meet many first-time entrepreneurs, women with a small business looking for advice or mentorship how to get to a higher level, some more established businesses. And then also South India is home to some of the world's elite entrepreneurs, many with history of successful family businesses, and have taken their entrepreneurship outside of South India to all of India and frankly, the whole world. So you really only need to walk around Chennai or Bangalore, and you see both the startups and the established firms that demonstrate the strength of South India's entrepreneurial spirit. This doesn't just happen. You know, South India has a robust network of private accelerators and investors to help support startups. The region's internationally known educational establishments, much like IIT Madras, where we are today, both public and private institutions, have been active in developing mentorship programs for aspiring entrepreneurs. The regional chapters of the business chambers, the CII, FICCI, TIE, for example, have programs to bring the bright minds, the entrepreneurs, into an entrepreneurial space and help them succeed. And significantly, South Indian state governments have been at the forefront of establishing incubators and supporting the idea of entrepreneurship. As Lauren mentioned, the first event public event I attended after arriving here was a workshop that we at the consulate organized along with the Tamil Nadu Corporation for the Development of Women, an organization, a state organization, which shares our belief that you can't leave half of the world's population out of the entrepreneurship game. It recognizes the importance of bringing women fully into the entrepreneurship space. And I was inspired there by the women I met who attended the workshop, eager to talk about their ideas, to talk about their businesses, but also eager to talk to the trainers to gather their insights on how to scale up their businesses and go to the next level. They weren't satisfied where they were. They wanted to go to a higher level. Now, celebrating and empowering women in entrepreneurship has been something that our consulate prioritizes and has prioritized. And that's why I'm especially pleased by the theme of this year's Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is Women First, Prosperity for All. And if you don't remember anything else that I say up here tonight, please remember this one point, and that's when women do better, countries do better. And this is not just an idealistic aspiration. It's a proposition supported by real economic data. Some social studies show us that women worldwide reinvest 90% of the extra income they might receive back in the education and health of their families. So 90% of the extra amount they make goes back into improving the skills and productivity of a future workforce. Now, men, that figure's about 35%. Now, this is important when we look at development, when we look at future economic growth, and it's important for our communities. There's also data and indications that women-led firms or firms that have women in leadership positions can generate bigger profits. So there's a social argument for this, there's a business argument for this. One example was a study by the Peterson Institute for International Economics that found that businesses with at least 30% female leadership could add up to 6% to their net margin. So there's something there to bringing men, women together in a firm and having women in leadership positions. Those data, and that data in the Peterson study came from analyzing over 20,000 publicly traded companies around the world. Okay, so these were larger enterprises, but the point remains that bringing women in increases the possibilities and makes business sense. Investing in women and supporting women entrepreneurs fuels economic growth. But as you know, and I don't need to tell our panelists and experts here today, that women entrepreneurs can face particular challenges, making their path to success more difficult. My colleague, Lauren Lovelace, has been traveling around South India, conducting roundtable discussions focused on entrepreneurship and hearing about the different challenges specific to South Indian entrepreneurs and specific to women entrepreneurs here during her visits to Madurai, Pondicherry, Coimbatore, and any number of other cities and locations outside of Chennai and Bangalore. And entrepreneurship is difficult enough without any extra barriers to success. And that's why I'd like to take a moment to salute and celebrate the entrepreneurs we have here today, all of you, and especially our women entrepreneurs, for their determination, your ideas, and your achievements in your fields. I want to thank all of the speakers who will be joining us here on stage in a while, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts, your insights, and your stories. I want to thank IIT Madras for inviting us to this great venue and making the space available for conducting classes today, for conducting networking opportunities, and for hosting our program here tonight. I also want to thank Jayashree Venkatesan, sorry for putting that, from Care Earth Trust. They've been our partners in executing the program here today, and we couldn't have done this without your work. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Mr. Mahadevan from Oriental Cuisines, whose firm is catering tonight's dinner. He's not here with, but he's a shining example of sort of enlightened corporate responsibility and a champion of women's empowerment. Finally, thank you to everyone who made time to be here tonight. I know everyone in this room has a busy schedule and multiple obligations. And I especially want to thank those of you who came from far away, from outside of Chennai, to join us this evening. The United States is recognized globally for its culture of entrepreneurship, and GES, Global Entrepreneurship Summit, is just one example of how we are committed to working with countries to foster innovation worldwide. In India, being a hub of creativity, is a natural partner for us. And as we move forward together, let's all remember this. Women first, prosperity for all, because we can't leave half of the world's talent pool on the sidelines. Women first, prosperity for all, because women entrepreneurs have brought us many successes. But who knows what else they could bring if we create a level playing field. And women first, prosperity for all, because when women do better, countries do better. But before we begin tonight's conversation with our esteemed entrepreneurs, we have a short video to share with you featuring some of our recent efforts on the road to GES. Thank you.
corporate employee லெவலுக்கு நாங்களும் எங்களை வந்து இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு பெரிய ஒரு பிளாட்ஃபார்மா இருந்திருக்கு இது.
TechCamp is a cultural melting pot of ideas.
Expanding opportunities for your company to grow globally.
Hey there, it's Jennifer Inolo from the Concordia Project, and we are live in Chennai on the road to GES.
I think it's really important to leverage their natural talents and really find out why they're there every day. Where do they want to be developed?
These many years, I was not working with the problem, I was working against the problem. The one major thing which she gave an idea, which made my brain to think what I was doing is wrong, it was that work with, not against the problem. So from here on, I am going to work with my problem, not against it.
Today, I see that the role of a woman within a family or a business is recognized deeply. So we don't no longer live in an era where women need to fight.
I've been in the business of manufacturing transformers for the past 3 decades, and we've seen a journey of women entrepreneurship development in this sector. Right now, every event that is being hosted in the country has always a parallel session for women entrepreneurs.
This is a globally recognized fact. Empirical evidence supports it, that women entrepreneurs deliver higher returns on any investment made in enterprises that are owned and led by women.
Opportunities are there, and I think sky is not the limit for the women entrepreneurs.
Well, I just want to start by thanking my incredible team from the U.S. Consulate that created the video, which I think several people in the room probably saw themselves featured in this. So thanks to everybody from our digital engagement team for participating in it, and thanks to all of you for providing the content for it in the many events that we've done on the road to GES, and now we are here at our destination. So it's my pleasure to join in conversation now with some truly amazing women. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Ms. Radhika Sarath-Kumar, Chairperson and Managing Director of Radwan MediaWorks Chennai. Ms. Padma Chandrasekaran, entrepreneur, investor, mentor, member of the Chennai Angels, and most recently our fabulous one of our pitch trainers for our pitch training session. Ms. Lakshmi Potluri, CEO of DCF Ventures and co-founder of Jabong. And based in Mumbai, but a Madrasa girl, so welcome home, Vanakam to Lakshmi. Ms. Priyamvada Balaji, whole-time director, Lucas Indian Service Limited of Chennai, welcome. And Ms. Uma Reddy, Managing Director of High Tech Magnetics and Electronics and founder, president of Emerge. Also one of our International Visitor Leadership Program alumni, of whom we are very proud. Now, we also have in our midst 6 inspiring women from across every state in our consular district except for the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And these women are leaders in their field and doing amazing things, from producing honey in Madurai, my friend Josephine, to renting organic farms and making pencils in Coimbatore, creating a digital media platform in Kochi, leading our wonderful chefs in Manipal at the Manipal University, these women are entrepreneurs, but they're also role models for other women, for other men, and for South India and for the world. So let's watch, please, a short video about them, and then I will retake the stage. Now, in our defense, we are diplomats and not starting a media entertainment startup just yet today. We'll let you know when that happens, but until then, please bear with us for just a moment. Here we are.
I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 34.
After resigning from my organization, I had 2 options, either to continue with the profession as a visual media journalist or to start something new. I decided to start something new that can create some positive vibe to the society. That's how Channel I Am came.
It's a vernacular media based out of Cochin. After 12 years of my visual media experience, I thought of doing something different to the society. Being a woman entrepreneur, I believe, like any other profession, women can make entrepreneurship a big success. My most memorable moment of being woman entrepreneur is my experience as a woman media journalist. And I believe when women win, we all win.
I'm architect Trupti Doshi from Pondicherry, Auroville. I co-founded the Oroma Group in 2014 with my family. We specialize in eco-friendly design and sustainable construction. My journey as an entrepreneur started at the age of 20 when I was sitting in a humanities class in my architecture college in hometown Mumbai, when I learnt about the catastrophic levels of social and ecological devastation that happens in our country in the name of economic growth. It was on that day that I decided that I don't want to be on the conveyor belt. I want to be a change maker. Being a woman in a male-dominated construction industry has taught me how to balance the masculine and the feminine aspects of work within myself. So how to balance structural thinking with creativity and logic with intuition. My most memorable moment of being a woman in business have been when my work was featured on the cover page of the United Nations Environmental Program as a model for sustainable development in India, when I was awarded the Woman of Pondicherry by the Governor Dr. Kiran Bedi, when I represented India at the Global Summit by the European Sustainability Academy and at the Professional World Youth Congress in Washington, D.C. Women first, prosperity for all. So the 3 points of my business have been people, planet and prosperity, so it fits in perfectly.
Hi, I am Divya and I run Indian Superheroes and Plansil, and the company is based out of Coimbatore.
Anybody, either can be a farmer or a small-time businessman, he is self-sustainable in it. That's the reason we created the social business where we ask the farmers to do the value addition and they get good returns on their products. So we started with 2 farmers, but now there are 843 organic farmers onboarded. We have 12 NGOs whom we are working with. Currently the community is growing very much, and we are looking forward to get more and more tribals into this community. As of now, there are just 2,000 tribals who are working with us. My most memorable moment in my business initiative is when I was able to help a family come out of the poverty. So that was one thing, and when I helped the self-help groups to self-sustain themselves. I began my career in a school which is quite popular in Chennai, Vidyodaya Samskriti Kendra. I used to teach cookery and bakery. That motivated me to become a teacher. Over the years, opportunities came my way. I realized how important it was to get into hardcore education and academics, which was deep-rooted in me as I went into research and investigative work. It brought me to into higher education in hotel schools, and that is the most interesting part of my career, where I have to transform and motivate the youngsters to believe that their life does not depend on getting a job, and they should always look beyond the jobs and look for opportunities that exist all around them in the environment. The most memorable moment of my life in the 4 decades of my experience as a professional has been when I was recognized in 2013 as one of the 100 most influential women in the hospitality industry in India, and in competition with many men who are in the industry. And I'm extremely proud that I've been in this industry which over 4 decades have motivated young minds to think out of the box, not to look straight into careers, but to look at opportunities across the world wherein they could create, innovate, incubate and start up entrepreneurial initiatives.
என்னுடைய பேர் ஜோஸ்பின், மதுரையிலிருந்து வரேன். மதுரையில் தேனீ வளர்ப்பு, கோடிக்கணக்கான தேவதைகளை வளர்த்துட்ருக்கேன். பிபிஸ் இயற்கை தேனீ பண்ணைன்ற ஒரு பண்ணையை வச்சு அதில் வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட இப்பொழுதுக்கு 7000 தேனீ பெட்டிகள் வச்சு தேனீக்களை வளர்த்துட்ருக்கேன். எல்லாரும் வீட்டுக்கு ஒரு தேனீ பெட்டி, குடும்பத்திற்கு ஆயில் கெட்டி அப்படின்ற ஒரு வாசகத்தை நானே உருவாக்கி பழுப்பு புரட்சியாக இதை கொண்டு போயிட்டுருக்கேன். இது ஃபஸ்ட்டு ப்ரௌன் ரெவல்யூஷன். இந்த ரெவல்யூஷன் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து பண்ணினோம்னா நிச்சயமாக நம்ம நாடு ஆரோக்கியமான நாடாக, பலமான நாடாக இது வந்து மாறுறதுக்கு ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ஒரு அருமையான தொழில். இந்த தொழிலை நான் செஞ்சிட்ருக்கேன். நம்மளை எடுக்கக்கூடிய அளவுக்கு தேனீக்களை வச்சு பெரிய அளவில் இது வந்து இதுக்கான விழிப்புணர்வு இன்னும் வந்து நிறைய பாடல்களில் முதற்கொண்டு தேனுன்ற வார்த்தை, தேனீ வளர்ப்பு எல்லாமே வரணுன்றதுக்காக தான் இதை வந்து ஒரு பழுப்பு புரட்சியாக கொண்டு போயிட்டுருக்கேன். பெண்கள் வந்து ஒரு தொழில் முனைவோராக வர்றது நிச்சயமாக வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா நம்மளுக்கு தன்னம்பிக்கை, தைரியம். முன்னாடியெல்லாம் வந்து எனக்கு என்னுடைய சொந்த ஊருக்கு பஸ் ஏறி எனக்கு போக தெரியாது. ஆனால் இப்போ இந்திய அளவில் இல்லை, வெளிநாடுகளுக்கு தனியாக போய் வர சொன்னால் கூட போய் வரக்கூடிய அளவுக்கு தைரியம், தன்னம்பிக்கை. இன்றைக்கி வந்து ஒரு மாவட்ட ஆட்சித்தலைவர் இருக்காங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு பக்கத்தில் அவங்களுக்கு இதாக உட்காந்து நம்ம வந்து ஒரு அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு பவர் எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரு பெண் வந்து தொழில் முனைவோராக வந்தால் தான் இது எல்லாமே நம்மளுக்கு நடக்கும். அதனால எல்லாருமே வந்து தொழில் முனைவோராக வரணும்னு கேட்டுக்கிட்டு விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி.
I started my website designing and digital marketing business WebDreams and clickhoobly.com, which is e-commerce business, way back in the year 2000. That is the first e-commerce portal from North Karnataka. I was mother of a 1-year-old and couldn't move out of home, so I started my business online. First I started with the Kosoti sarees, which is hand embroidered stuff done by rural women artisans from North Karnataka. Presently, we deliver fresh flowers and cakes all over India in 300 cities. Being a woman entrepreneur has made me more positive and improved my ability to multitask. At the same time, I have become more responsible towards my family, my employees and my community. The most memorable moment of being women in business is the state award which I received from Government of Karnataka as high performing IT woman entrepreneur. At the same time, it was a memorable day when I could catch the cyber criminal who used to use fraudulent credit card transactions, and I could catch him with the help of local police and could get my hard-earned money back from him.
So may I ask these amazing ladies to stand up, please. Josephine, Divya, Paro, Dipali, Nisha, and Trupti. Please just stand up and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for traveling here to Chennai to be with us today. And these are truly the women that represent the best of our consular district, the best of South India, and the future for this idea that we all believe in, which is women first, prosperity for all. So thank you so very much. Now I'd like to just invite to the stage our representative from Kerala, please, Divya, and also from from Nisha from Cochin, and Divya from Coimbatore. There we are. How's that? So we're looking for this, thank you. So exactly so. We're looking for this to be a conversation. So thank you for the feedback. We want you to be able to hear. This is a conversation, of course, with the women on the stage. It's also going to be one with the women who we've just had seen featured in the video who come from out of station. But it's also going to be a conversation with you. So we're going to welcome everybody to engage as well. But I'd like to start, if I may, by posing a question to Radhika. Radhika, welcome. Hi. Hi. You were already an extremely popular and very well-established actress when you decided to start Rodden Media Works. And you were perhaps one of the first women in the South India entertainment industry to realize the full potential of television. So you've been an inspiration to many people. I'd like to ask, to start out, what inspired you towards entrepreneurship?
Good evening to everyone, respected Consul General, and everyone on stage, and all the achievers, especially the women who are participated in today's event. Thank you very much for having me over. And to your question, yes, I was a very, what do you call, popular actress, and when I decided to start my own business in television, I was a single mother with a child whom I couldn't leave and go out to all my outdoor shootings and, on location. And to me, television was an extension of my profession. We are not far behind, and I knew television was going to be the next future. And when I started, I had so many people discouraging me, saying, you are so popular, you're doing so well in movies. Why do you want to go? It was looked down upon, especially in the South, where the mindset is so different. But I am generally a person who listens to everyone, but I do what I want to do. And so I started this company. I started it as a private limited company. And there was a whole lot of struggles, to establish myself. Because, artists, sports people, and politicians are the most written about. People look at us. They write so much about us like the other people don't exist. They give us so much of importance. They, talk about even a Twitter which we put up, like as though we are going to be the next Narendra Modi on earth. I mean, these sort of things happen so much. But when, but when you go down to business, you go to any bank and say, look, I'm going to start this. They say, oh, you're a very good actress, we love your movies. But they just look at you as a dumb bimbo. I mean, this is what I faced. Because they all lived with preconceived notions that, we couldn't go past that. But to challenge that, to accept it, start on your own. And the biggest challenge is not starting the business, but the biggest challenge is to succeed and maintain, to carry over. So this is how this all went about.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
So listen to everyone and then do what you want to do. I think that's a great piece of advice for us. Now I'm going to turn, if I may, to Lakshmi. I think there are probably very few people in the room who are not familiar with, who've not shopped at jabong.com. And you are one of the co-founders of that platform. And today you're an angel investor for many of the companies, for many companies in India and abroad. I will want to at some point come to a question about digital, but also we were talking earlier about the theme for the conference today, which is Women First, Prosperity for All. And you had some thoughts about that I appreciated. So if you wouldn't mind just sharing some thoughts on that.
Sure. First, I'd like to thank the U.S. Consul Chennai for inviting me, and congratulations to the fantastic women on the panel as well as sitting across, and all the wonderful things that you're doing. I think Lauren and I were briefly talking a little bit about the theme of the evening, and what I was sharing with her is that there's a lot of conversation about women entrepreneurship. However, I personally think there's plenty of opportunity, and that's one as a woman entrepreneur today. India is full of opportunities. In the last 5 years, things have radically changed. So I think when we talk about women entrepreneurship, the fundamental question is, why do we not see as many women out there starting businesses? I think that's the real question. The support, the ecosystem, and the funding also exists. I keep reading articles about, sometimes we don't have any women-focused accelerators. And yes, they are important to some extent, but I feel like there is broadly investors, funding, and ecosystem for good ideas and good entrepreneurs, irrespective of the gender. What I think we need to really change is the social conditioning, as well as understand the fundamental reason why we don't have as many women out there starting businesses. Social conditioning starts at our own homes, as a mom, as a sibling, as a child, as a spouse. And this naturally extends to your workplace. So one of the reasons why I say investors aren't, yes, there will be a few exceptions always, but even investors, they see, a powerful spouse, a powerful wife. So when they look at another woman who's starting a business, they are, seeing potential in them. So I think the social conditioning is probably one of the biggest reasons. You're expected to be a mother, you're expected to be a sister, you're expected to be a daughter-in-law, a wife, and this is really, I think, what I'm referring to, and this has to change in our own homes. We as women should also, you know, for those of us who are raising children, should also train the male child or the boy in the house to, you know, treat the child the same way you treat a female child. And it is amazing, you know, subtly there are so many differences how the boy child is raised, even in educated families, even in upper middle class and affluent families. So I think this was what we were discussing.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to we did a survey within the consulate, relatively small sample size, so it's still out there. But we did a survey of entrepreneurs in South India, and we asked people what they were most interested in terms of as rising entrepreneurs, and they mentioned the concerns about access to capital, which you noted, which are very real. Very many of the women entrepreneurs especially expressed an interest in women mentors, and we hope that today will serve to that end. But there's also concerns, as you mentioned, about gender discrimination and gender bias. So I hope we'll get to that point. We won't solve it today, but we will. But I'm glad that you raised it early on, and not just as you said, you know, education for young people, but also self-perception. And I'd like to then turn to Uma Reddy, who I met my first days here. Uma, you not only run your own business, which you started when you were in college, which is incredible, but you've also devoted yourself to mentoring thousands of first-time women entrepreneurs. So in your opinion, and I should say that Ivanka Trump has just recently made some remarks in Hyderabad, and she highlighted some women entrepreneurs from Bengaluru who are very likely products of your program. We'll have to find out. But what, in your opinion, is the biggest challenge that is faced by a first-time or even just any woman entrepreneur? And then how do you teach? Because you run Emerge as a training organization. How do you teach women toward this?
Okay, thank you, Lauren, for inviting me over, and thank you to the U.S. Consulate. It's been a great journey from 2008 as part of the International Visitor Leadership Program to today that we continue this conversation, we keep going. And first and foremost, let me congratulate to every woman here on both the sides of this dais. I think each one of you are a rock star. And why I would say a rock star is, as Lakshmi put it, we are multitasking, and we are always perfecting that juggling act. And I don't know when it'll ever get perfect, but we keep balancing it. So with that few words, yes, I started my business 33 years ago at a time when the environment was not industry friendly. It was a licensed Raj. I think because I did not know the word entrepreneurship, or we were not taught entrepreneurship in college, that it was just the passion of doing something that I loved doing, and I succeeded, or kind of. I'm still relevant today. Being in electronics business, I started with printed circuit board designing, but let me say I belong to the manufacturing arena, and for that, to start my business, I needed a loan. So I quickly would like to share this story because it's relevant. That I went to the bank, asked for a loan, and they said you need to give a project proposal, and I didn't know that, okay? So nobody taught us that. So I sat across the field officer's table, I wrote my proposal, I gave it to him, and I said, give me the loan. And he said, no, but then the math should work out. Tell me the debt equity ratio. And I had no idea. Anyway, I did that, and after I gave in the form, he said, well, you have to give collateral security. And I said, what's that? So he said, you have to get some property for this loan. And it was a small loan of $25,000 when I was in college. So went back home and I asked my mother. My mother said, they had a small site. So I said, can you give it? And my father said, yes, yes. And my mom said, well, this girl will take that loan, and then she will get married, and she'll go away, and then the loan remains with us, and what's going to happen? Well, they had a lot of fights between them, but my dad won, and I got the land, and I got my business started off. to buy some drafting tables because those days it was not the computer era. Well, we went on with technology. I started with printed circuit board designing, and as technology moves on, we keep abreast of it. So it's very important that we cannot stay in the same business, especially in electronics when product life cycles are short, need to keep on changing. And now I manufacture transformers and coils, and in fact, the satellite that gets launched gets 2 of our coils that goes in it. So we are glad about that. Thank you. The whole idea is, it's nice that we are all running a business, but in the year 1990, I received the first generation Technocrat Entrepreneur Award, and the lady there said, you have an expertise of how to run an enterprise. Can you share that expertise and help another woman set up an enterprise? And that's where my inroads into social entrepreneurship began. And believe me, over the years, I've mentored, counseled, trained, facilitated, and formed many associations, and one of them I founded is called Emerge. Deepali is one of our members of Emerge, and there are many others. And I believe that every platform gives us an identity. As entrepreneurs, we are quite loners. We run. But when we are on a platform, we become a role model to somebody else. And that somebody else says, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm sure that each one of you in this room is a role model to somebody. So please, please continue, create more and more networks thanks to this digital era and all the various Twitters and WhatsApps and Facebooks. There are so many groups. Please use all these platforms to help another woman set up an enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma. That was wonderful. So confidence building, keep evolving, and look for role models. That's great, great advice. If I may turn to Padma, and thank you again for heading up working on the pitch training. And I was listening with a lot of interest, and that was a packed audience there. You started SIFI.com. You've worked for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and today you're an angel investor and on the board of several companies. So my question for you is, how easy or difficult is it for rising women entrepreneurs, and especially for startups, to find investors or funding to scale up? We know about the 3 Fs, or the family, friends, and fools who might sometimes invest. Is it getting any easier than it was 5 or 10 years ago? And I'm thinking just about your story, Uma, about looking for a loan. And
first of all, okay, that's right. Okay. So first of all, thank you for inviting me along with the rest of this panel. Second, I think, we really can't appreciate enough the people, who are here, who've come through the programs that you guys have built. And third, I would like to say to you guys, the consulate, this is quite entrepreneurial, what you've put together, especially when I hear from you that you're doing this only in Chennai and not in the other southern cities. I mean, we did it in Cochin, but fairly entrepreneurial, the way you put the program together. To get back to your question, I think I'll take a step back and maybe say, I'm not so sure that funding is always a necessary part of being an entrepreneur. And maybe we also need to take a step back and then redefine, what's an entrepreneur. Is it, somebody who's always going to scale up a business to the size of a Microsoft or, Amazon or a Google, or somebody who's running a business within their local district, who qualifies as, and who takes risks with their own household capital, with their families, income, and so on and so forth, and still manage to run a fairly successful, profitable business. So I think that's one question that I'd put out for people. The second thing is to go back to what you said, have things changed over the last 5 years? I'd go back and say, look at the question a little differently and say, have things changed for women in the workplace? Whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a professional in the last 30 years. And I would say definitely India's come a long way. Part of it has been structural because we've had liberalization. Liberalization gave rise to many more opportunities for both men and women. And part of it also is, I think, Lakshmi was referring to structural interventions. When you're talking about social change, it doesn't begin with the individual. It also begins with the environment, with the kind of structural interventions that, say, the government can make, that NGOs can make, and so on. And I think there's been a lot of change which has brought more women into the ambit of a professional career as well as entrepreneurship. And finally, to come back to funding. So if you look at the loan segment, especially now, if you look at SIDBI and you look at all of the public sector banks, even if you look at some of the private sector banks, there's a very, very strong push towards lending for women. So that's on the loan side. And if you look at the equity, the private equity side, I mean, I cannot really say that there is a systematic discrimination against women amongst the PE, VC, seed fund, angel investing groups. Really, I think most of them have looked at, is the business viable? Is the person qualified to run? And I would say they tend to, fund that kind of business. So, I mean, I would, really question this. So that's my response to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling us entrepreneurs on behalf of the consulate. We love that. But I loved what you said that, especially in the start, like, funding is not what defines you as an entrepreneur. And as we were looking for, as we were considering, who maybe represented the different types of entrepreneurship that was happening throughout the consulate, and I'm going to point you out again, Paro. I had met you in Manipal, and I was asking Paro, who is the head of the hospitality administration school at Manipal University, who just served me the best meal that, one of the best meals I've ever had. And I said, where do your students go to work in restaurants? Which restaurants do they work at? And she said, no. My students start restaurants. And it was this confidence that she brought. And so we're so glad that you're here, because thinking about what it is to be an entrepreneur and to think entrepreneurially, that's a really, I think, inspiring way of thinking. We've got many first generation or rising new entrepreneurs here, but we also have women and men who are involved with family businesses. And if I may, Priyamvada, you started out as a commercial and investment banker before joining Lucas Indian Services, which is part of the TVS Group, one of India's oldest and most respected family-owned businesses. So what do you see in terms of opportunities specifically for women entrepreneurs who are running family-owned businesses? I know in South India, family-owned businesses are very prominent. In Coimbatore, where I was in Mangalore, like just traveling around Salem, we know, or at least we're learning about what South India holds in terms of family-owned businesses. So can you give us some insight into opportunities for women in that space? And welcome.
Thanks, Lauren, and thanks everyone for getting me on this panel, and great to meet you all. Yeah, Lauren, well, I think the phrase "on the shoulders of giants" applies, because I think all the hard work was really done by the previous generation, where you had a lot of path breakers really striking out and making their presence felt in family businesses as well as in their own businesses. I think they did a lot of the heavy lifting before our generation really came along. And coming from a family business, I guess, the question about whether the gender is pretty blind in most families today. I would like to say women have been taught that you have the same opportunities and it depends on your own skill set. I think I've been fortunate to come from a family where many of my women cousins are all in very senior levels of leadership. So it helps to have people who've tread the path before you, who've spent that 10, 15 years before you did, so you can always go back to them for mentorship and so on. There's a very strong informal mentorship within the family business that helps out a lot. So that really helps. It is an old industry. Engineering is as old as it gets. And in the part which I'm working in now, which is the distribution arm, that's where you really take a look at the second India. The gender blind first India, fully educated, there's no issue. It operates as equally as you can possibly hope for. But the second India that you kind of really meet when you go for your dealer meets in Asansol, when you go down into the rural outskirts of Bhubaneswar, then when you're the only woman there in the entire room of male dealers, and the guy will still not look at you and talk to your junior. That still happens. So I would still say it's a problem of two Indias, and that's something where we really need to see change. Hopefully, as more and more people through, the state government's Entrepreneurship Development Institute, which is doing some fantastic work through the microfinance institutions, which are really supporting small women's groups. I think that is when you'll really see grassroots change, and that's when we can talk about a more gender-blind society, not just in the top 1%, which is in a good place today.
Fantastic answer. Thank you so much. And that provides a very nice pivot to ask a question to Divya, who was introduced to many of you in a film and to us through her work in Coimbatore. Divya, you're a software engineer turned social entrepreneur and focusing now on the organic agricultural sector. And I'm wondering, just tell us a bit how, and this is getting back to Priyamvada's point about the two Indias. How did farmers react when you first reached out to them with your business model? And how did you overcome that to become us, or first, how did they react? And then if there were any challenges, how did you overcome those to become a very successful entrepreneur today?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the US Consulate to invite me here and share this amazing panel with an amazing woman here. And on the other side, I've seen a lot of women entrepreneurs who are doing a great job. And coming to your question, I was working with Mindtree, an IT firm, and when I quit my job and started farming, that is, started a company called Indian Superheroes. Everyone came to me and said, are you crazy? And when somebody asks you this question, are you crazy? You should be happy about this. Only crazy people can change the world. And I was like, I didn't know why people are asking this question to me. And I started with just 2 farmers. One is my family, because I'm from a farming background. And why I started this farming or the Indian Superheroes company is mainly because of my grandfather. He attempted suicide because he had a throat cancer, and he was admitted in MIT Manipal, since I belong to Udupi. And he didn't have, my family was unable to afford that money for his treatment. So I started, and my family didn't want me to get back to farming because they know that you never become rich or you never become financially free. That's what they say. And they wanted me to do engineering, and I went to corporate world. But I started realizing, why shouldn't I change? Why shouldn't I bring the change in the sector? That's when I started with the farmers, and initially, my mom was very open to this, and she supported us. And we started with just 2 farmers, and now it has grown to 843 organic farmers. The journey has been brilliant, and when I started saying to all the other farmers that their life is going to change, they used to doubt. You always have this doubt chip on your shoulder. Everyone doubts you whenever you say something. And every entrepreneur will come across this journey. First, when you say your idea out, everyone will come and doubt. And they say, I don't think so this is going to work. I don't know if this is scalable. I don't know if it's going to be profitable. And upon that, this is a social enterprise. I don't know how you're going to make profit out of this. And to be very frank, Indian Superheroes is a bootstrap company. We don't have any investors on board. Not just Indian Superheroes. I have started another company called Plansil. So it is possible. And of course, like how ma'am said, money is not necessary to do business. To be very frank, money is not necessary. You just have to have the passion. And we are really good with Jugaad methods. In India, Jugaad will work really well. Trust me, and I have done that. Everyone here can do it, and we are able to take to the profit zone, and we are doing really well. I want more and more entrepreneurs to come out, bring the change in the society, do a part of yours. Like you can bring a change in your own community, and this is going to change the world. Thank you.
I feel like that's what we call a mic drop. That was fantastic. So Nisha, I do want to get to you as a successful TV journalist turned entrepreneur. And Nisha spoke with several of our members of the press at a press conference that we had this afternoon together with our Consul General. And one of the reasons that we were so honored that Nisha could be there is, yes, she's a journalist, trained as a journalist, but she's also an entrepreneur. And when I heard about your work, it's that, you know, yes, the women on the stage and the women in the front row and the women entrepreneurs who are all here, you know, we're focusing on this. We've been doing this Road to GES, and we're having this program in Hyderabad, and we're having the program today in Chennai. But it's really inspiring that 365 days a year, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you're finding stories about women entrepreneurs, but specifically women entrepreneurs that you can highlight for your audience in Kerala. And I think it's a real model, getting back to what some of the women were saying earlier about how, you know, from whatever sector we're in, whether we're in the diplomatic field or we're in journalism or we're in investment, looking for opportunity, looking for those both the positive stories and also the less than positive stories. You mentioned earlier about maybe some of the stories that involve failure, and I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit to that, because that is, you know, there are challenges, and it's not always an easy task. So if you could speak a little bit to that, and then what I'd like to do is open it up to the room, and for some questions and also some comments. Thanks.
Thanks, US Consulate, for giving me this opportunity. And the channeliam.com, it's a vernacular media, focuses on entrepreneurship and startups. We do video stories and we circulate it through digital media. So we have different segments called Women Engine. The name itself says, without engine, no vehicle can run. So we focus the successful entrepreneurs, women entrepreneur in that particular segment, including failure stories. And we have a segment called The Night I Did Not Sleep. In every entrepreneur life, definitely there'll be a day that that particular day you won't be able to sleep. So they share their failure stories. So we get great response for that particular segment because people get inspired out of that. Then we definitely focus on the women entrepreneurs, and I don't focus not only the metro entrepreneurs, I do the women entrepreneurs, the rural sectors. We have technology, we have problem on the other side, and if I could bring all this in one platform, and if I could showcase all of them on one platform, definitely I'm solving a great problem, I think so. Then we have mentoring session, we have success mantra, mentoring session where people come and the experts from different sessions come and talk about, you know, marketing, finance, funding. You know, then we give guidance for this student entrepreneurship. Then we conduct this campus boot camp in campus for promoting student entrepreneurship, and we give a special focus on MSME sector, and we do only video stories. Video, it's not a production house actually, it's a video making, and we do the news element. We showcase the news element in that, and we do 2 to 3 minutes video that can be circulated through the digital media. And our niche area is entrepreneurship and startup and innovational ideas.
So there's a market for this in Kerala, and I suspect there's a market for this throughout other states in South India and throughout India. So thank you. That's fantastic that you started that platform. And then I would just say anyone who is, I guess, from Kerala, I think we do have some visitors from, some people who've traveled here from Kerala, yes. We would, I hope that during our networking that there's a chance for folks to meet and to possibly star in some of these programs. So what I'd like to do now is I would like to open it up to the floor. I only ask this, that you please identify yourself so that we know who you are and maybe tell us where you're coming from. And then whether it's a comment that you want to make or a question, it's fine either way, because we know we have a lot of people with a lot of experience in the room, but just keep it somewhat brief. I think we have, let's see, we have about 15 minutes. So does anybody have a question? And also just wait for a microphone. Does anyone have a question or a comment that they would like to share? I'm seeing Praveen. Yes, yes.
Good evening to everybody. My name is Choda Natchiyar Rajashekar, President, the Tamil Chamber of Commerce. And this is the subject for this Chamber of Commerce. I convey my thanks for the US Consul to organize this event in Chennai. The one thing I want to appreciate is that there is a slogan in GES, women first and prosperity for all. Actually, going back to the great poet Bharadiyar and Bharatidasan, even our revolutionist Periyar is very much interested in the women liberation. They all used to say, if one woman educated, the whole family will be educated. Based on that, the slogan is the extension that prosperity for all. I want to appreciate that. And as a Chamber of Commerce, I request the Consul US Embassy to organize full-fledged GES 2018 at Chennai itself. And the Tamil Chamber of Commerce is proud and assure you that we will associate with to organize in the great manner. And I appreciate the efforts by the first-time generation entrepreneurs and the long-time expert women entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I don't know if we can speak to the possibility of a GES 2018 in Chennai, but I do know that only crazy people can change the world. So maybe it's possible. So we'll see. We'll take that on board. Thank you very much, and thank you for the work of the Chamber of Commerce. Yes? Yes, sir.
I have a question. First of all, congratulations to the US Consulate and my hearty congratulations to all the successful entrepreneurs. My only point or question here is the institutional backup for women entrepreneurship. Like in US, when the small businesses want to set up their businesses, they have a lot of institutional support in the universities, in the banks. I remember I worked briefly in the Women Development Corporation, and I had to really struggle to get the rural women to get, tailors who did tailoring, to get skills in design and patterns and color combination. I requested NIFT to do a short course for them. I got it done, but I had to struggle a lot. Now my point is that should you not think of institutional support for women entrepreneurs? If somebody wants to start up something, they should automatically try to have many avenues, not merely the government, but also in the private sector.
Very good question. I think,
yes.
Uma, I heard you say that so we could talk about maybe government support for that sort of thing, but also the groups like Emerge and how they can, exactly, and in capacity building.
Yes, in the private sector, of course, as you're aware, we do have associations, women entrepreneur organizations, and I think in South India you have it predominantly high, whether it's Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, or Tamil Nadu. But there is a larger need for chambers of commerce to be inclusive, because let's remember that every state has a chambers of commerce, and I think there has to be an effort to make it inclusive, because chambers have their meetings in the evenings to their convenience, okay? But as women entrepreneur associations, we tend to have our meetings a little ahead so that then the women entrepreneurs can actually go back, or we have it in the morning at 9 o'clock before we get to work. So there are certain things which we need to bring under a larger umbrella, make it more positive, and get more women entrepreneurs under a larger umbrella so that they are able to spin off on their own. Because at the end of the day, business is mainstream business. We don't do business only among women. We are part of a mainstream, but let's bring it under a larger umbrella, and I think private organizations in the country should actually support such initiatives and be able to provide large platforms. And I think in this digital world, there's a larger opportunity, and I think every small initiative is very good. The self-help groups in the rural areas, we have a large number of them, and NGOs, and then at the growth level with the chambers of commerce. That's my opinion.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Yes, I just want to add
I just want to add one more thing to your point. I completely agree with you. Just to give you an interesting statistic, in India we have approximately about 160 incubator accelerators. In the US we have about 2,400. In China we have 1,600. So that's the difference. We absolutely need a lot more institutions, a lot more incubators. Doesn't need to be gender specific. It just is needed to promote entrepreneurship.
I represent an incubator, technology business incubator. So there is governmental support also, right? There are specific women entrepreneurship development programs organized by Department of Science and Technology. So these will definitely help. It's changing. Surely it will help, I think.
Go ahead. It's on.
Good evening. I'm Saraswati, Secretary General of the Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I fully agree because we have been doing a lot of work on the Women Directors Forum and She Leads program to develop women. And instantly my question to the panel, because I happen to be the first Women Secretary General of the Madras Chamber, which is 182 years old. And when I did a small research, I found it's not by design, it's by default. Probably nobody aspired. So my question to the panel especially, what is your opinion? Is it the institutional mechanism or the support system which has to be strengthened, or is it the mindset of the individual? Where should we start working with first? I'm talking about the women, individual women.
It's a great question, first of all, and very good to know that you're the first woman Secretary General of the MCC. My view would be that it can't have change at any just single one level. A woman can't change everything in her life. A family change needs to happen at the family level. It needs to happen at the societal level, and it probably needs to come from outside. I think media has a very, very big role to play. It has actually played a great role in the last 25 years in terms of how we view women, how we view, things like extramarital sex, career women, going out and doing things. A lot of things have changed. So I cannot see any one single intervention making change happen. I think it's a multiplicity of things. And to the gentleman from the Government of India, the DST, who talked about the things that the government is doing, I think there's a lot that the Government of India has been doing in the last 15, 20 years for the uplift of women, which has made changes. Anybody else?
Yes, Prima.
Just taking off on, or riffing off on Padma's point, I think fundamentally you see a lot of change happening at the entry level. If you look at professional employment, we see a lot of women entering the workforce, which is unprecedented over the last 5, 10 years, if you compare it with the 80s. So first women were getting educated, now they're entering the workforce. What in our organization we're seeing is after they come in, then they get married and then they leave. So there's suddenly the pyramid, enough women come in at the bottom, they come in like this, and then suddenly once they hit in their late 20s, the kids start coming and the husbands start coming, they just exit and they don't want to come back. And we say, like, please don't leave. Why do you want to leave us? You're one of our best engineers. No, sorry, my in-laws won't let me, or I have a child to look after. I think that is the next level of change that needs to come in. They're now educated and they're entering. Now we need to see how to keep them in the workforce and how to help them grow and get into the boardroom tables. That's where we need more women now.
And I agree. We also see women who are, whose children have gone through school and have graduated, and at that moment in time they turn to entrepreneurship. So I think that is also something to keep in mind as well. We have Uma, did you have a point?
I just wanted to add a point to what Lakshmi said, and how many women presidents do the Chambers of Commerce have? We don't have. We hardly have. I think 2 from the Mumbai Chambers of Commerce.
I met the youngest head of a Chamber of Commerce in Mangalore, actually, a woman who was one of the youngest heads of Chamber of Commerce, but yes.
But those are individual organizations, yes, but not the Chambers of Commerce. So the Bangalore Chambers of Commerce or the Karnataka Chambers of Commerce is yet to have its first woman president, where they were about 102 years old. Where I don't know whether the Chennai Chambers of Commerce or the Madras... HSBC. One. So we need many, many more, and I completely agree that it can't be just one person's effect. It's our individual effort, the family support, the societal support, as she said, and also the men actually supporting it and pushing it forward. It's very important that I think the entire organization and the platform needs to support it to make it happen, so that then there's a multiplier effect.
And I just want to call out that we have a beautiful baby in the back of the room someone has already brought a child to a conference on entrepreneurship. So starting them young. I would ask you guys to applaud, but I do not want to wake the baby. But no, don't applaud. Shh. So we all have to whisper now. Okay. But welcome. That's a fantastic way. Yes, we have a question right here in front.
I'm Ms. Renu Jairam, founder president of an organization called POWER, which stands for Platform of Women Entrepreneurs. It's a registered body. And if not for Ms. Lauren, I think we are all from Manipal, a small town of Udupi district in India. And if not for Madam, I think we wouldn't have heard of this GES and not been here as well. So thanks so much for being there in Manipal and encouraging, because this was first time someone from the consulate had visited the small segment of women entrepreneurs in Udupi, and you have made that initiative. We are so very thankful to you. Or else it always happens in big cities, you know. See, women entrepreneurs all around are same. They have just the right passion, same passion. But unfortunately, when it comes to small cities, they are being ignored. Whatever we need to do, we need to go to big cities like Udupi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi. So why are they not really reaching out to these women there? We are always saying rural women are great, women in smaller towns make it big, but still nothing really reaches there. This is one of my observations. And we are an organization, actually, in this small sleepy town, we are a wonderful organization of women entrepreneurs working for this. As you just heard, see, it took GES for us to meet this Divya Shetty. She is from Udupi. We were shocked, actually. We were sitting here. That's another prospective power member for us here. And we are meeting us here. And mainly we met Madam Parvatavardhini here. And as she said, our students start businesses. See, this is the mindset we have in a small town of Udupi. That is what I would like to make. And one observation I would like to present is we were all talking about support systems and things like that. One of them suggested institutional support. We come from Manipal and we see that there's a lot of support, there's a lot of incubation centers happening. But what is happening is everybody are working in isolation. See, we are an organization, we are working in isolation. Like we do incredible programs, but we are just doing it all ourselves. But what is happening is there's no connection between the government, the institution, the organization like us. Why doesn't the government think in this direction? This is my question. Why don't we have, like, you go to a government, like for example in Udupi, if I have to go to a government office, I see all the possible offices, but not something connected with women entrepreneurship cell. So why don't we think of in this direction? If a woman wants to do something, why can't she go there, get all those information? She doesn't have to literally go to the website and find it so complicated. So why are we not working closely and just have one body which can connect to everything? The organizations, the local bodies there, the institutions. Why can't government do something like this? This is my observation. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Sarita Santosh and I come from Manipal. I have been running a travel agency for the last 15 years, and I completely agree with Divya that every time we talk about an entrepreneurial venture, we talk about money, so that comes first to the mind of a young person who wants to get into entrepreneurship. But I think the idea should gain more importance, and of course, money will follow. I also started my venture at home. The dining table was where I started my business. And right now it's we have a 300 square feet office in Manipal employing only women. So go with the idea and chase your dreams with passion. So I'm very thankful to the US Consulate for having this. And it's nice to see all the women here inspiring all of us. Thank you so much.
I wear multiple hats, but today I'm going to talk about two professional hats that I wear. One is I'm an entrepreneur myself. I've also got the Outstanding Women Entrepreneur Award from MSME, Government of India. That's the first hat. So I have lot more relevance to women first and prosperity for all. The other hat I wear is, me and Rama, we have been the president of Empowering Women in IT. And your consulate has been very supportive of the empowerment of women. And Jennifer McIntyre, who was your predecessor, has been working along with us in terms of encouraging us to do a lot more work in empowerment. So I here want to reiterate our support to your consulate to help us to grow more and more in terms of empowering women. Thank you.
Hi. We talked about gender bias, and we said that women always have to take care of both, like family, children. But I'm a entrepreneur, and I like to give a positive insight of this. Like in Indian culture, men have to run the house. So whenever my business was down, I never had to worry because my husband was always there to run the house and to earn for our family. So I'd like to acknowledge all the men who are behind us and helping us. So that is the positive thing of gender bias, which is working out for us. Thank you.
I think we have time for just a couple more questions or comments. I think we have a gentleman right here who has a microphone. There's somebody else. Radhika's doing a good job of telling me who's got the mic. The gentleman back here who's dressed the same as me, so I have to, sartorially, I have to say yes. So I'll give you, and maybe a couple more, but please, sir.
Good evening to all. Thanks for organizing this, and it's a very positive event which we are participating. I'm Professor Sridhar from Great Lakes Institute of Management. One of the things we would like to reiterate here is we have 37% women students in our campus amongst 600 students, which is highest in the country. And we are encouraging that in a big way, and percentage of women students in the campus. And we have a program called as Successful Women in Management, where we have an annual conference every year, and we have 3 to 4 conferences only on this. And we would like to share this platform to others who are interested to participate in this. And one of the things I would like to highlight on what Priyamada Balaji was saying is, the women people who get into corporates or entrepreneurs are stuck in the middle because of the family reasons which they go. But one of the things we in the campus, what we are reiterating is we are guiding the students and say, and they spend 2 years to 1 year in the campus, 1 to 2 years in the campus, and we say that irrespective of whatever was their thing, we try to guide them and say at any point of time they can come back to our campus. And if they have to have difference in, for example, if they have a deferred placements, we support so that even if they are not successful as women entrepreneurs, again, we get them employment. This has been one of the motives, and we have gotten some 10 to 12 entrepreneurs so far from the campus. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, and also to Mr. Balabalachandran for welcoming us to the Great Lakes Institute of Management. Fantastic school, and I was so happy to see so many of your students, and especially so many young women who are rising entrepreneurs. And I would say your placement rates are also great. So that's a very good message that you give us there. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? All right. Thanks, first of all, that I wore this coat because you gave me the bias. My question is specifically, my name is Vishnu. I co-founded Indian Superheroes in Plancil. I run it alongside Divya. My question is specifically to Ms. Radhika Sharad Kumar, ma'am. My grandma is a big fan of you. Every night at 9:30, Vani Rani obviously runs, and I miss all my football matches, all my cricket matches that I want to watch. Yeah, so my question is specifically to you. Like, we run 2 companies, and it's a bit of a juggling act. Now we want to create second in line. Because you have been juggling a lot of such initiatives, like you do serials, you do movies. I wanted to understand from your media house, how do you create the second line of command, and how do you nurture them? That's the first question. Second question is to people like Lakshmi and the person who runs Vernacular Media. There's this concept of barter system. Like, I have certain positives, you have certain positives. We were in a barter system like 100 years back, probably 200 years back, but the concept of barter system I would love for it to be implemented in the startup community, because you have digital marketing expertise, we have something else, and we'd love to knowledge share and do bartering of services for, instead of just providing money, if you understand what I mean. Is there a possibility for something like that? These are my two questions. Thank you.
So one's about charismatic leadership, and I think in transition. I think that's a great question for any business. But Radhika, can you answer that?
Sure. Please give my regards to your grandmother. Thank you. The main mantra in my company is teamwork works. I usually don't say my company, I say our company, but today, just since I was getting a point across, it's teamwork, and it's very difficult in my work, like my creative work or acting, to get a second in command. So what we do is teach them and nurture them and give them the trust. Say, you can do this, go on, go ahead and do it. And that's how you sort of get people to work with you. And if you take in our company, there are people who have worked for nearly 14, 15 years and still working in my company. Because the thing is, the main thing is to instill that trust and make sure that, and just guide them to do this. So once they learn the, the know-how, it's easier for them to go about, and they always can, stand up to any situation, which, and we face a lot of challenges. There are, just to make it a little fun thing, 10 years ago we had, the edit system was this huge, before the digital era came in, we had tapes. Yeah, and we have a 9:30 time of telecast, and we have to send the tape across to the channel. And what would happen is, at 8:15, the tape would get stuck inside the machine. And what we would do, and I would be away at shoot, and then somebody would panic, call me and say, what do I do, what do I do? I said, think well, this tape has to go to the channel. Yes, ma'am, what do you do? What would you do? I'll take the machine, carry it, I'll say. So they'll carry the whole machine and go to the channel to say, here's the tape. So they would connect some wires and, get it to transmit. So these are things where you really need to give them that space and time. But the main thing is to get them to start thinking, not just horizontally, but also laterally, to say, when you're doing this, try and do this. Because I'm sorry, I have to say this, but women are fantastic at multitasking, and it's really tough to get them men to think like that. It starts with my husband. If I say, can you have your coffee and just give me that? No, I can only do one thing at a time. Don't ask me to do all that. Say thank you while I'm carrying the baby, or while I'm doing something, cooking, and at the same time talking on the phone and giving instructions to the office. Yes, it's to instill the faith in them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Radhika. And listen, you can save your question on bartering for the networking dinner, and we'll see if you we'll be interested if you have any success. We have one last question right here. She's promising us a short one, and then we're going to have some words from our partner Jayashree Venkatesan. First.
Good evening. Thank you so much for giving me. I'm just going to take a quick second. I'm a partner in a legal firm. Well, we have our own legal firm. It's very convenient because my husband is the senior partner, so he works for me. The point I wanted to get across is because I was very keen to come to this because I'm learning something here, and what I wanted to take a minute is to ask any of these people here who are doing this kind of, who have formed little bodies and helping women entrepreneurs, they can contact me because I know legal is a huge part of setting up business. So if they need any kind of, I'm offering my services. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
And can you? Yeah, we're asking. There's words of pro bono. Is there any? Yeah. Depends on the size of the business, but I'll just say second row on the right, in the front, and then yes. Okay, so yes, ma'am. Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Brinda from Evron Technology. Thank you for this wonderful event. It was very helpful. It was very inspiring. Thanks again for the team that organized this. I have one request for you. There are a lot of entrepreneurs outside who doesn't know these events at all. You know, even I didn't know there's TiE Chennai exists probably a couple of months before. So I request you to make more promotions, probably TV ads or newspaper. Somehow you should reach out for a lot of entrepreneurs outside. People think that you should be well educated, you should speak English fluently to attend such events. I know that's not necessary. All you have to is have a business idea or even just run the business successfully or just you have started. That's enough to come here. But people think the other way around. So please take initiatives to meet such kind of people so that they can also come here and get these, benefits. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for what was basically concluding remarks. I hope we will all I hope that folks will stay in touch. I think that our networking dinner, which is to follow, will be helpful to that. I see lots of hands up for more questions and more comments, and we hope to hear those, but at the networking dinner session. In terms of programs that are bringing people together, just thanks to all of you for coming today. I think we did get some ideas from Nisha and some inspiration about where maybe media and entertainment can do this. Also what Radhika has done in terms of focusing more on women through media. But there's much to be done, and fortunately we're here to do it together. So with that, let me please invite to the stage Jayashree Venkatesan, our wonderful partner from Care Earth Trust, an organization that has much going on, much to do, and they were kind enough to partner with us in support of this program here today. We've been working on this for about 3 months, or almost 4. I would also just, as Jayashree is coming to the stage, I'd like to thank again my own friends and colleagues from the U.S. Consulate, including the lead for this program, Ratna Mukherjee. Special thanks to her. So thanks so much, Ratna. And everyone from the consulate. So then, thank you, and Jayashree, we look forward to your comments.
Thank you, Lauren. What a memorable and enriching event. It's indeed sad that it's coming to an end so soon. Wish it had spilled over a bit more. On behalf of the U.S. Consulate General, IIT Madras and Care Earth Trust, it's a privilege, a true privilege, to be standing here to thank each of you here. We're really enriched by your presence here. I would like to especially thank the leaders, the inspirations, who I'm sure would continue to mentor, continue to share their experience with us and make our lives better. I wish to acknowledge the presence of a number of women entrepreneurs as well as male entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for networking. It's great to have you here. I would be failing in my duty if I don't acknowledge the presence of very senior government officials, beginning the Additional Chief Secretary, Mr. Hansraj Verma, of the Rural Development and Panchayat Raj Department, Mr. Skandan, Dr. Balaji, and Dr. Krishna Kumar, and most of all my teacher, Dr. Ranjit Daniels, who's sitting there very quietly. It was he who ensured that I became Dr. Jayashree Venkatesan from being a mother of a 1-year-old kid. He mentored me, taught me, and helped me start our organization, Care Earth, in a dining room, once again a dining table. So there's some connect to a dining table, I see, in women's entrepreneurship programs. Thank you. Each of these people have served as mentors to Care Earth Trust. I wish to thank also the support staff of ICSR, who've been phenomenal. Nagesh, I don't know where he is, somewhere here. Each of the women workers who ensured that the dining tables are kept clean, the seats are clean, the toilets are clean, the washroom is clean. To them, I wish to thank from my heart. It's been a great experience working with them. And finally, I wish to thank the media persons. I hope they give us the space that's so richly deserving. And I wish the story carries on forever and ever. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the consulate, we welcome you to the dinner in the adjoining room. Would I ask for all of the trainers and presenters from this morning's masterclass and pitch session, as well as the women from Alsatian who've joined us, to please come forward for a photograph. But otherwise, we will see all of you very shortly at the dinner. Thank you.